This boy's name is Atlas. Every day he rummages for food in the trash. And that scene was seen by a girl, Lily, from upstairs. She never expected someone lived in the ruined building opposite, and even picked up the breakfast she had thrown away. But that day, while taking the bus to school, she saw Atlas again. Out of curiosity, she really wanted to know why he did that. But when she met those skinny eyes, she was stunned, speechless, because those were the eyes of someone in despair. After school, Lily brought some fresh milk, a freshly made lunchbox, snacks from her cupboard, and even a bag with a flashlight. She also packed a blanket and bedding set, and placed it where Atlas often stayed. Then she gently knocked on the board, and ran away with her heart pounding, finally hiding behind a big tree, until the board was open, until Atlas picked up the item. She finally sighed in relief and satisfaction. But the next morning, Atlas seemed to be waiting for her at the bus stop. "Thank you, I don't know what you're talking about." Lily denied that she had helped, but deep down, she felt a bit anxious. "Then why are you living in that house?" "My mom kicked me out of the house." "Why?" "Because she preferred the boyfriend who hits her." Atlas hid the scar on the back of his hand, avoiding Lily's gaze. "My parents won't be home until 5 o'clock. If you want to take a shower or do some laundry, just come over. I don't mind." "Thank you." When she saw Atlas smile, she finally felt at ease. After Atlas finished showering, he wore Lily's dad's old clothes, and was about to leave after saying thanks. "My parents won't be back for another hour. You can watch TV if you want." With Lily's invitation, Atlas shyly sat down next to her, looking at his skinny frame. Lily asked about his future plans. I'm going to enlist in the Marines this May." After a few simple exchanges, Lily instinctively glanced at Atlas again, and burst out laughing, because the Marines couldn't possibly take someone that frail. But at least, there was now hope in his eyes. During the days they spent together, he discovered she liked flowers, so he suggested opening a flower shop someday. But she liked oaks more, because oaks grow lush and strong without needing care. Still, if she could have her own flower shop one day, that would be an incredibly happy career. But there was one thing that made her lose confidence. Her father always hit her mother without reason. "Last night I heard something." "Does that happen often?" Seeing Lily frown and stay silent, his hug gave her a gentleness she'd never known. To apologize once more, Atlas carved a heart out of an oak branch, hoping she could be as strong as an oak tree. Their feelings for each other gradually blossomed, but they were soon entangled in unpleasant rumors. "Disgusting. He probably has rabies too." Atlas was used to it, but Lily was furious. She kissed Atlas in front of everyone. In that moment, the whole bus was filled with jealousy, and the nasty-mouthed woman became the laughingstock. After returning home, Atlas borrowed Lily's kitchen to bake his specialty cookies. At the same time, questions weighed on his mind. "So, that time you kissed me, was it real?" Even though he already knew, Atlas still wanted to hear a clear answer. "I wanted to kiss you, but they forgot how time flew by." Lily's dad had already driven home. They panicked and parted ways in a rush of regret. Just as Atlas jumped out the window, her dad walked into the kitchen. As usual, he washed his hands before dinner, but he heard a sound outside the window. Just as he was about to check it out, Lily quickly said she had baked cookies just for him. That calmed her dad down. The two of them narrowly escaped, but the deeper their feelings grew, the more they lost track of time. And then, something unexpected happened. "Lily, open the door now." Her dad suddenly burst in. He angrily grabbed Atlas and threw him to the ground violently, then mercilessly beat him, until Atlas was barely breathing, until Lily's heart completely shattered. Only then did he stop. More than 10 years have passed in a flash. Lily had moved to another city to live, but now, she returned to her old home, because her father had just passed away. Now only her wrinkled old mother remained at home. At her mother's request, she only had to list 5 good things her father had done for her, but on the day of remembrance, she couldn't think of a single one, and she couldn't make one up either. She still couldn't understand that strange request, so, right in front of relatives and friends, she firmly refused to attend the funeral. She could never forget the unforgivable pain. Unconsciously, she went to a rooftop, as if with one more step. At the moment she hit the ground, she would finally be freed from all her bottled-up emotion, maybe be released from this world full of pain. But the appearance of a man shattered the stillness around her. Lily was frightened by the man's intensity. She immediately turned away to avoid his gaze. "Sorry, today has been awful. Could you please get down from the edge?" Lily wasn't planning to care, but unexpectedly, the man climbed up and sat there with her, sitting beside her to share the sadness. After a few words of conversation, she learned his name was Ryle. He was a neurosurgeon. He was angry at himself for being powerless, because he couldn't save someone who was shot, so he couldn't let Lily give up right in front of him. His humor and sincerity made Lily step away from that dangerous ledge. Then they began talking about the past. "You made me jealous of a guy eating leftovers, and I want to date you." Faced with this stranger's blunt confession, Lily was stunned, speechless, but she also immediately recognized his old trick. How many women have fallen for that trick? All of them. Lily bluntly rejected Ryle's confession, because she wanted a long-term relationship that could lead to marriage. "So what do you want me to do?" "I'm not sure. but you can try. Ryle acted like he'd just been handed a free pass. He began to move a little closer, gently brushing Lily's hair without thinking. That warmth seemed to melt the heart that had been frozen for over a decade. The man moved closer and closer, and Lily grew increasingly eager for a new beginning. But a sudden surgery call interrupted the ambiguous atmosphere between them. Only then did Lily come back to her senses. After he finished the call, she shyly said goodbye. It was nice meeting you, Lily. You too, Ryle. Though she regretted that they couldn't be together, Lily had no idea that this man named Ryle would completely change her life. After what happened the night before, Lily remembered her unfinished dream, so she rented an abandoned shop nearby, preparing to begin her flower-selling journey. While she was cleaning up old items, a young and beautiful girl named Anna came asking for a job, though Lily hadn't planned to hire anyone yet. Clearly, it would help lighten the workload. In her lonely life running the flower shop, having someone to talk to by her side made things a little brighter. But just as they were starting to clean up, Anna's brother dropped by to visit her. Turns out Anna was Ryle's Anna. After months, they met again right there in that shop. It was as if the wheel of fate had begun turning once more. We meet again. Nice to see you again. Even though Lily didn't want to get involved any further, but Ryle had always remembered her. That left Lily unsure how to react. Seeing the two reconnect like that, Anna's boyfriend, Adam, suggested a group outing. They decided to drink the night away. After Ryle sang an emotional love song on stage, he told Lily how deeply he regretted walking away that day. But Ryle didn't want to just be friends. When the party ended, he insisted on driving Lily home. Even though Lily gently declined repeatedly, Ryle kept sweet-talking her. When Lily firmly pushed him away, Ryle kept his promise and only watched her walk away. Back at home, Lily finally felt at peace. She could now focus on her newly opened flower shop. But the next morning, to her surprise, Anna had secretly redecorated the whole shop, turning it into something straight out of a fairy tale. But when she checked the books and saw no orders, Lily began to worry as no customers were stopping by. The main reason was they hadn't thought about advertising. As they struggled to find a solution, their first customer arrived. He was amazed at how beautifully the shop had changed, then chose a flower pot to give to a beautiful woman. He wrote her name and address on the card. How much is it? $51. Though Lily had managed to keep her distance from Ryle, there was still a trace of sadness in her forced smile. Seeing Ryle pay and leave coldly, she began to worry about the card on that flower delivery. But she didn't expect the delivery address was the flower shop itself, and the recipient was none other than Lily. Turns out Ryle hadn't given up on pursuing her. On Anna's birthday, the party was full of single Lilies. Lily was stunningly made up, walking through the crowd, her eyes subconsciously searching, but Ryle was nowhere to be seen. But just after greeting Anna, she accidentally saw Ryle laughing with another woman. The smile on Lily's face slowly faded. She made an excuse to go get coffee, and as she approached Ryle, she took off her coat, revealing her full charm. As expected, Ryle couldn't resist and followed her. He wanted to know why Lily was acting that way. I thought we were just friends. We are friends. But clearly their relationship was more than friendship. It was the scars of the past that made Lily afraid to move forward. Faced with Ryle's sincerity and confession, Lily tightly held his hand. She had fallen for the man in front of her. Ryle took her upstairs to share their feelings for each other. But just as things were heating up, Lily suddenly pulled back again. Afterward, Ryle seemed thoughtful. Maybe Lily was carrying unspeakable pain. He took off his shirt and agreed to just sleep beside her tonight. Lily couldn't believe Ryle actually restrained himself. She put on her pajamas and nestled into his arms, enjoying the peace of the moment. The next morning, when Anna saw them being close, she bluntly warned Lily, "You'd better not expect too much from him." But Lily had already known Ryle was a ladies' man, but now she could feel his genuine sincerity. With each date, they understood each other more deeply. Lily's heart, full of crack, was slowly being healed. She started believing in love again. But then one day, she turned down a date with Ryle because she had to take her mother out for dinner at a restaurant. She thought Ryle would just let her go, but unexpectedly, he wanted to come along, which meant he was serious about marriage. At a restaurant named Roots, Lily introduced her boyfriend for the first time. Ryle's humor made her mother very happy. Because of his habit of washing hands before eating, he left the table for the restroom. But during that brief moment, while ordering food, Lily accidentally noticed a scar on the waiter's hand. That scar looked very familiar. She looked up, her eyes widened in shock. She could never forget that gentle face. But when Ryle returned, the waiter quickly slipped away. Ryle continued talking about his intense surgery, but Lily's mind had drifted elsewhere. She excused herself to go to the restroom to find that waiter. After more than 10 years apart, she once thought Atlas had died. Now he appeared right in front of her again. At that very moment, Atlas called her. The weak boy from the past had grown strong after 8 years in the Marines. From a homeless teen with nothing, he had become the owner of Roots Restaurant. It was unbelievable, but Lily now had a boyfriend worthy of her trust, and Atlas also had a girlfriend named Casey. Still, Atlas asked for the address of her flower shop, then quietly returned to work. Autumn came. Anna was now pregnant. Everyone raised a glass to celebrate. Back at home, Lily couldn't hide the admiration in her eyes. But tomorrow, Raul had an important surgery he couldn't mess up. Tonight was definitely not the time. But in a careless moment, Raul noticed the heart tattoo on Lily's collarbone. Even though it was left by her ex, he still felt uneasy. Raul kept whispering sweet words that stirred Lily's heart. But just then, the baking timer rang, ruining the intimate moment. Raul rushed to open the oven, but the violent way he moved scared Lily again. Though she calmed down seeing his injured hand, she composed herself, because the surgery planned for tomorrow now had to be cancelled. Lily convinced herself it was just an accident. The next day, Raul kept apologizing for what happened, but Lily didn't want to dwell on it, until Raul said they'd be going to the restaurant later to plan Anna's wedding. That's when she started feeling uneasy. She tried to cover the swelling near her eye with makeup, but when they arrived at the restaurant, Anna immediately noticed the injury. After trying to explain, she finally reassured Anna, but while ordering food, Atlas slowly approached from afar. Lily could only quietly avoid his gaze. She even covered her swollen eye with her hand, but Atlas still noticed something was wrong. He silently walked away without a word. His rude action puzzled everyone. Only Lily understood the reason. She quickly stood up, heading for the restroom, but just as she entered, Atlas suddenly stormed in. He shut the door and urgently asked what happened. Even though she claimed it was an accident, Atlas didn't believe her, because he had seen and lived through it himself. But as soon as she stepped out, she ran into Raul, his face full of concern. "If you ever lay a hand on her again, I'll cut your hand off." Raul froze in shock, until Lily shouted Atlas's name. Only then did he understand what was happening. He immediately lunged, and the two started fighting, neither willing to back down. "Get out of my restaurant." Faced with Atlas's reaction, Lily felt completely let down. She panicked and ran after Raul, who was leaving, crying as she tried to explain. She finally got him to stay. Raul demanded that Lily never see Atlas again. Under the promise Lily was forced to make, they never brought it up again, but it was hard not to see Atlas again. For 2 years, Atlas walked past this place every day. He just hoped to catch a glimpse of the woman he loved. And one day, she returned. He just wanted to say he was truly sorry, that he had lost control and acted like a jerk. He deeply regretted it and apologized. Lily gently nodded, avoiding eye contact. Once again, she claimed it was just a misunderstanding, but Atlas still believed it was intentional violence. So he wrote down his contact info on paper, and slipped it between Lily's phone and its case, hoping she'd never have to use it. Then he left the flower shop, though he still felt reluctant. Only by facing the past can you move toward the future. After deep reflection, Lily told Raul about her father's abuse toward her mother and Atlas. Only then did Raul realize how important Atlas was to Lily. It made him even more insecure. So when Anna gave birth and was in confinement, he got down on one knee and proposed to Lily. Lily nodded in agreement. The couple in love finally stepped into marriage, but they didn't hold a wedding. Because of this, Lily had to explain to her mother, and also asked Raul to help charge her phone. It was a simple task, but Lily suddenly heard the sound of shattering glass. She rushed over to check, worriedly asking what had happened to her husband. To her shock, Raul had discovered the paper Atlas left behind. He couldn't believe his wife not only saw her ex again, but was also still guarding against him. That betrayal of trust and broken promise made him refuse to hear any explanation. Raul became violent, terrifying Lily. She cried and apologized, chasing after him, and tried her best to explain the origin of the note. But disaster struck. Lily slipped down the stairs. Fortunately, Raul was a surgeon. He treated the wound on her head. On the edge between life and death, Raul finally began to calm down, and Lily was forgiven, just as she had hoped. Afterward, she let out a sigh of relief, wishing accidents like this would never happen again. She pulled herself together, and returned to managing her flower shop. That day, Anna brought exciting news. In a prestigious magazine ranking the best new shops, Lily's flower shop was ranked 7th, which meant it would gain wide publicity, and finally see a steady stream of customers. Next to it, Atlas's restaurant was also featured, but when she saw Root ranked number 1, Lily immediately felt no joy. Her fear had become reality. Raul received the magazine from Anna. He happily congratulated his wife, but his face quickly changed, pointing to the restaurant Root at number 1, and asked Lily to read the notes on the back. Lily feared Raul might get angry again, so she quietly read line by line. When he was young, the restaurant owner carved a heart into an oak tree for a girl named Lily. It was their secret, but he named his restaurant Root, to symbolize always keeping a place for her to return. When asked if he ever saw that Lily again, Atlas answered, yes. Next question. After reading those words, Lily finally understood how deeply Atlas loved her, and Raul didn't seem angry. He only asked whether she still loved Atlas, but at that moment, Lily wasn't sure of her heart. She needed time to think, but Raul tried to turn to physical intimacy to rekindle Lily's Lily's feeling, but Lily was exhausted, both physically and mentally. Faced with Ryle's aggression, all she felt was discomfort. She kept resisting, until he pinned her to the sofa. Even as Lily cried in pain, she couldn't stop Ryle's abuse. It reminded her of her father hitting her mother, and of Ryle's past violent temper. Lily used all her strength to escape Ryle's control. Only in the car did she finally breathe freely, and that's when she recalled being pushed down the stairs by Ryle, and him hitting her head when baking. They were all acts of abuse disguised as accidents. She finally understood the pain Atlas had endured back then, so she rushed to the Root restaurant that night. Seeing Lily devastated, Atlas's worst fear had come true. He held her tightly in his arm, bringing her safety and comfort. Out of concern, he took Lily to the hospital for a checkup. She didn't want to follow in her mother's footsteps. Atlas wanted to start over with Lily, but what the doctor said made him reconsider. Because she was pregnant, they couldn't x-ray the bite mark on her collarbone. That gave Lily new thought. Atlas took the sad Lily to his home. "There's no Casey, right?" "No, I don't have a girlfriend." Atlas showed her the kitchen and bathroom, then gave her clean clothes, and told her to sleep in the bedroom. After everything was set, they sat on the sofa and talked. Atlas used the clumsiest joke to ease the tense atmosphere. "But there are things you just can't ignore. If you can't even take care of yourself, how could you possibly care for the baby inside you?" But Lily didn't realize how kind she truly was. Back then, Atlas had stayed in that old house to end his life, but a girl named Lily brought him food, and gave him hope to keep going. "If you decide to keep the baby, then I'm sure you'll become a wonderful mother." Looking into Atlas's trusting eyes, Lily decided she would raise the child, but she couldn't keep disturbing Atlas's life, so she decided to move out and rent her own place. But Atlas couldn't stop worrying about her. Before she left, he hugged her, and spoke sincerely. "If you can ever love again, then please, love me." When they parted with lingering feeling, Atlas shed tears. His love had once again walked away from him. A few days after moving into her rented apartment, Anna came to visit. She sincerely apologized for everything that had happened since childhood. She understood why her brother became who he was. Because when Ryle was only 6, he accidentally shot and killed their older brother Emerson while playing cowboy. He was too young to know it was a real gun. Since then, Ryle had completely changed. Even Anna was afraid to get close to him. Having someone else to protect her, Lily felt more at ease caring for her baby, and she was more focused on her flower shop. In her free time, she went crib shopping with her mother. She went for regular hospital checkup, watching her baby grow day by day, and spent evenings thinking about the future. Even though Ryle kept texting her apologies, she could no longer forgive him so easily, until one very ordinary day, Ryle came to visit Lily during her pregnancy. As the father of the child, Lily couldn't refuse and let him in, just to let him assemble the baby crib. After finishing, he looked at his child for a moment. When his hand gently touched Lily's belly, the baby's movement brought him joy of becoming a father, and rekindled his hope to reconcile. "Come home with me. I won't make the same mistakes again." Although Lily could see Ryle had changed, she still firmly refused to return, because she didn't want to gamble on Ryle's temper. Right now, all that mattered was the baby's safety. As time passed, the day of childbirth finally came. Ryle held Lily's hand tightly, staying by her side through the pain. When the baby was born, smiles of happiness appeared on their faces, but Ryle knew he no longer had the right to be a father. He stood silently, watching the mother and child. "Do you want to stay with us?" With Lily's permission, Ryle finally sat down beside her. He gently picked up the baby, and carefully held it in his arm. "What shall we name the baby?" "I was thinking of naming him after your brother, so our son's name will be Emerson." It was as if Ryle was reborn. At last, he untied the knot in his heart that had lasted over 20 years, but Lily still did not accept him. "I want a divorce." The reason she did this, it was all for the future of the child, so that the next generation wouldn't suffer domestic violence. Even if Ryle swore otherwise, no one could guarantee it wouldn't happen again. "The child has a wonderful mother." Ryle accepted the divorce. He still had surgeries to perform. He stood at the door, looking at the mother and child one last time, then quietly closed the door. After Ryle left, Lily finally breathed a sigh of relief. She held her baby and whispered, "For us, this is the end. What happened between your father and me ends here." Lily returned to her old home. Now she completely understood why her mother held a funeral for her father. Even though she didn't attend it, she still came to his grave to pay respect. This time, she no longer felt anger, but a little sadness. Though her father had been violent, he had never laid a hand on his daughter. "Goodbye, Dad." Time passed quickly. The flower shop business flourished. Lily became incredibly busy. She had very little free time left, so she asked her mother to help take care of Emerson. But one day while shopping for supplies, she spotted a familiar figure in the crowd. Though years had passed since she last saw Atlas, they still felt the same as before. They greeted each other and reminisced about the past. This is the end of the movie. Thank you for watching.